Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving into something really fascinating, at least we think so, solar energy.
And not just solar energy in the way you might be thinking about it.
Right. Like we all know it's good for the planet and all that, but we've got some information here about this company, Divine Energy Solar, and it seems like they're really trying to use solar energy to make a difference in a really unique way.
It's a really interesting story, actually.
Yeah, tell me a little more about it.
Well, I think the best place to start is with the founders of the company, Patriarch Trevor Green and Bishop Jerome Chandler.
Okay, now that's not a duo I expected to hear about in the solar industry. What's their story?
Well, Green's background is in solar, which makes sense in this context. But what's really interesting is that Chandler brings both solar technology and data expertise to the table. And he's also a leader in the Caribbean Apostolic Church.
So you're telling me that a solar energy company was co-founded by a church leader? Exactly. And I think that really speaks to the heart of what Divine Energy Solar is all about. It's about more than just making a profit. They're really focused on using this business to make a positive impact on their community.
So it's like a two-pronged approach, harnessing solar energy while also empowering the community. How exactly are they planning to do that?
So their model is actually really interesting. They're basically looking to take the profits from their solar company and funnel them back into the Caribbean Apostolic Church, which in turn can use those funds to support all sorts of community initiatives.
So it's like they're powering their community in two ways, literally with solar energy and figuratively by supporting the church and its outreach programs.
Right. And what's even more ambitious is their long-term vision. They're aiming to eventually set up a local manufacturing operation in the Caribbean.
Whoa, so they're talking about making solar panels and other green energy products right there in the Caribbean. That's a game changer.
Absolutely. Think about the potential for jobs and economic growth in the region.
Yeah, you mentioned jobs, and we actually got a lot of questions from our listeners about what kind of job creation this could lead to. They're curious about what it looks like beyond just installing solar panels.
And it's a great question because the impact is far-reaching. We're talking about manufacturing jobs, installation teams, tech roles to manage things like smart grids. The list goes on.
And these are good-paying, skilled jobs that could really make a difference in people's lives, especially in areas that have been hit hard economically.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the number of jobs. It's about the ripple effect those jobs create. When people have stable incomes, they spend more money locally, which boosts the entire economy.
So lower energy bills, more jobs, a stronger local economy. It sounds like a win-win situation.
Exactly. And what I think is really important to highlight here is Divine Energy's focus on making sure that this transition to solar benefits everyone. They're not just interested in making profits for a select few. They want to create a system that's equitable and accessible for the entire community.
It's about lifting everyone up, not just a select few. That's something we can definitely get behind.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that access to clean, affordable energy should be a right, not a privilege.
Well said. But it's not just about the social impact, right? There's a whole technical side to this as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we need to unpack that a bit further.
Yeah, what kind of technology are we talking about here? Is it just your standard solar panels, or is there something more to it? Yeah, what kind of technology are we talking about here? Is it just your standard solar panels, or is there something more to it?
Well, they'll likely use photovoltaic panels,
Mm.
which are, what most people think of when they hear solar panels. Those directly convert sunlight to electricity.
Right, right.
But they could also be looking into something called concentrating solar power.
Okay, and what's that?
Well, it's pretty cool, actually. It uses mirrors to concentrate sunlight, which creates a lot of heat, and that heat is then used to generate electricity.
So instead of directly converting sunlight to electricity, they're using it to create heat first, and then that heat is used to generate electricity.
Exactly.
That's really neat. Are there any other cool technologies they might be using that we should know about?
There's a lot of potential in terms of the specific technologies they might employ, but focusing on the financial side of things for a moment.
Oh yeah, good point. We haven't really delved into the financial aspect of all of this. How does a company like Divine Energy Solar actually make this sustainable in the long run, especially with such ambitious goals?
Yeah, so it's a combination of things, really. They'll have revenue coming in from the solar installations themselves, of course,
Right.
and they might also be able to tap into government incentives for renewable energy, which are becoming increasingly common.
That makes sense. Governments are really pushing for clean energy these days.
Exactly. Plus, given their connection to the church, there's always the potential for donations and other forms of community support.
Right. So they have multiple streams of income that they can then channel back into both the business and the community initiatives.
Exactly.
It's really smart. But you mentioned earlier that their long-term goal is to actually manufacture solar panels in the Caribbean. That sounds like a massive undertaking. I mean, how feasible is that from a financial standpoint?
That's a really good question. Setting up a local manufacturing operation would definitely require a significant upfront investment. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
They would need to secure the necessary expertise, figure out supply chains, navigate all sorts of regulations. It's a huge endeavor.
It's a whole other ball game compared to just, selling and installing solar panels.
Exactly.
I think one of the things that's really captured the imagination of our listeners is the whole faith aspect of this story. We don't often see a company so closely intertwined with the religious community, especially in the renewable energy sector. It's intriguing.
It is fascinating. And it's definitely not something you see every day.
So, how does faith actually play into all of this? Is it just about the funding connection with the church, or is there something deeper at play here?
Well, it's hard to say for sure without, being directly involved in the
Of
organization.
course, of course.
But based on everything we've gathered, it seems like Divine Energy sees this as more than just a business venture.
Like a social enterprise almost.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they view access to clean energy as part of a broader mission, a way to uplift the community both spiritually and economically.
So it's about more than just the bottom line. It's about creating a better future for everyone.
Exactly. And I think that's a really powerful message.
It really is. It makes you think about how we can apply this kind of thinking to other industries and challenges.
Absolutely.
So it's about more than just the bottom line. It's about creating a better future for everyone.
Exactly. And I think that's a really powerful message.
It really is. It makes you think about how we can apply this kind of thinking to other industries and challenges.
Absolutely. It's like they're saying that taking care of the planet and taking care of each other, they go hand in hand.
Right. And that's not a message we hear often enough, especially in the business world. But I mean, it makes sense. When people have access to basic necessities like clean energy and economic opportunity, the whole community benefits.
Exactly. And it creates a ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
When people feel supported and empowered, they're more likely to contribute to their communities in positive ways.
It's like they're building a stronger foundation for the future, brick by brick.
I like that analogy. It's about more than just quick fixes. It's about creating lasting change from the ground up.
Yeah.
And, it makes you wonder, what if more companies adopted this kind of holistic approach?
Right. What kind of world could we build if every business saw themselves as part of a larger ecosystem, responsible for both the environment and the well-being of their communities?
The question worth pondering.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different way of thinking about business, but as we've seen with Divine Energy Solar, it has the potential to create something truly special.
It's inspiring, really. It shows that when we combine innovation with compassion and a focus on the greater good, amazing things can happen. So for anyone listening who's feeling a little disillusioned with the way things are, remember that change is possible. It starts with a vision, a willingness to challenge the status quo, and a commitment to building a better future for everyone.
Well said. And, if a solar company in the Caribbean can do it, then there's hope for all of us.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. We hope you found this exploration of Divine Energy Solar as fascinating and thought-provoking as we did. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those hearts open to the possibility of a brighter tomorrow.